Guys are probably as excited to be in person as we are to get back into the swamp. I mean, it's been 5 weeks since we've played a home game, so it's going to be great to get back into the swamp to get ready to go play. Obviously, this is always a big game. It's our saluting those who serve game, which I think I'm a huge supporter of our military and our service people all around the world. If you think about it, is I get to come here every day, live my dream, get to come be the head coach of the Florida Gators, and you get to do that because of the sacrifices that people make in serving our country here and abroad, and the freedoms that we have for us to go live our dreams. So it's a great opportunity for us to go thank those guys, all those that serve here in the swamp for this game. And we're also going to have a lot of former players back, which I think is great. Love having all those guys around. And I think our players love having around, and those guys do a great job within our team and with our players, talking about the Gator standard and what's important and what it means to be a Florida Gator. So it's going to be great to have them at the Gator Walk and around this weekend. So be ready to go. What do you?
Hey, Dan.
Hey.
So obviously we realize time to time how much of a business this is.
Mm-hmm.
Just how difficult and what was kind of the emotional toll that it took on you to make those decisions to part ways with, a guy you've been with 20 years on a staff and then another guy you're a friend with?
Yeah, it's always hard because, you have those guys are friends of mine. I have a lot of respect for them, both excellent football coaches. But it is, my responsibility as the head coach is to do what's best and what I feel is best for the Florida Gators. And that comes above it all. And so it was obviously a really tough decision to make. It was something that was weighing on me. It was something that I was looking and saying, hey, there's, I think it hit. I'm probably going to make changes at the end of the season. And I thought, you know what, for the health of the program, for the health of everybody, and if you know you're going to do it, we're going to let's make that move now and get us headed in the direction we're going into the future.
Specifically, what led to those decisions? How did it kind of reach that point where you just felt like you had to make it?
I just think, with where we were playing, I look at how we played Saturday and some things that built up to it of, we weren't where we needed to be. I think you look into a season, in every season, our goal here is to every season you come in with a goal to win a championship. I think we talk about this. Every team shows up, their goal is to win a championship. Very few do, right? If you go to the national championship, there's going to be one that gets to do it. If you go to the Power 5 conferences, there's 5 in the country. So it's hard to judge success by that completely. That's obviously our goal. But I think, one of the ways you say it's a successful season is, are you a better team at the end of the year than you were at the beginning of the year? And so for me, one thing, looking at where we're at right now, we're not better than we were earlier in the year. In fact, we're worse than we were earlier in the year. So at that point, I looked and I said, hey, we got to make some changes with what we're doing, with where we're at. I think part of that to do that and moving forward in the direction that we were going to go within the program moving forward. That's the decision I made for those guys. We'll start looking for people for replacements moving forward. It's a great opportunity for a guy like Christian Robinson, a really good young coach, going to have an opportunity to go call a game for the first time. I think I'm fortunate enough in the defense side of the ball that you move a guy in Paul Pasqualoni, who's one of the most respected coaches in football, can move from kind of my special assistant person that's with me that I lean on an awful lot to an on the field spot, and to really help out, especially a young guy like Christian in that role moving forward. Mike Soline gets an opportunity. I think he's a good young coach working with guys. A great opportunity for him to get those O-line, and I'm going to spend a lot of time with them and the O-line to make sure we're getting the work done we need there.
Dan, would you have made this decision? Was your thought still that you might not make this decision before the game? Was it that the final straw? Was there a chance?
Yeah, I think it was. I think it was. It was weighing on me. You're always thinking, what do we need to do? How are we going to get better? The hard part is you're looking at two guys. The hard part for me has been our inconsistencies throughout the year. There's time we play. I think Todd's an excellent football coach. There's times we've played great defense. We just haven't done it consistently. I think we're one of the top rushing teams in the country, but we just haven't been consistent with John on the offensive line. So that was just something at that point I'm looking at this point of the season. I think that was something that hit me is, do we get through the season and look to make changes after the season? Or do we just make that move now? If it's something I think I'm gonna do at the end of the season, I think I was pretty set that I was gonna make some changes at the end of the year, and thought, if we're gonna do it at the end of the year, let's do it now, move on, and so that we can go. I'll go search for who we're looking to replace.
So it's safe to say that you would have made this decision after the season? I mean, they couldn't have salvaged their
No,
jobs
I think
in the last
at that
month.
point I decided that was thought as like, I need to make this change, and so why would we wait just to get through another week or two?
Yeah. Was this solely your decision? Were you getting any pressure from Strickland or anybody else?
I mean, I will say this, Scott. I mean, our administration here does an unbelievable job. The support they give us, Scott. I mean, I have a great working relationship with Scott, and you look at what we're doing right now. I mean, for us, I mean, the work we're putting in. Obviously, we'd love everything to be extremely accelerated, where we have a facility like most teams in the country that we build up and we get kind of caught up to where everybody is in college football. But Scott's tirelessly working at that, the support they give for that. And, he was there. It was certainly something I discussed with him, and we had discussions about, so I think he was certainly involved in it, but it certainly wasn't any pressure. The decision was mine.
How much responsibility do you think you bear for where we are right now?
Me, I'm the head coach, so I bear all of it. It's on my shoulders. I'm the one that's responsible for this program. I'm the one that's responsible for this team and how we go perform. And so, I mean, that's your job here as the head coach, is to take on that responsibility. And my job is to make sure that we go perform and this team plays to the Gator standard, which we're not doing right now. And so, it's my responsibility to find a way to fix that.
Following up on that, Dan, a little bit, how confident are you that you're not the problem? Because there's a lot of people out there who think you're the problem.
Well, I think there's lots of problems. I'm pretty confident in myself, and I've won a lot of football games as a head coach, won championships here. So, everybody has problems, right? The key is having solutions. It's not really. Everybody in the world will tell you every problem they have, and it's really easy. I could read your article this afternoon and tell you all the problems with it. I might not have the solutions, the grammar, whether it's grammar or accuracy or what you're doing, might not have the solution, but I could probably tell you what the problems were. So, I think part of it, what I'm pretty confident in, is finding the solution.
Has Scott given you any assurances that you're going to get a chance to fix this next year?
Yeah, Scott. I mean, my talks with Scott is and ours is, he's pretty confident that we're going to get this fixed. Now, I can't speak for him on that deal, and I mean, within his confidence, it wasn't about this year and next year. I mean, it was a long-term picture of where we want this program to be in many years to come.
Getting rid of coaches can sometimes put a lot of stress on the other staff members. How do you combat that, and where do you think that these moves will make immediate impacts and long-term impacts?
Well, we want to see. Obviously, I mean, we're going to go search to put together the best coaching staff that we possibly can. So the long-term part yet to be seen. We're starting to, as well as getting ready for the game and other things, you're starting to compile a list and get prepared for where the future is. Like I said, in the short term, we're going to have to see. I know where we were, and the status quo was not going to be acceptable for us. I talked to the team this morning about that, and I explained what status quo meant, but for some of the guys, but with where we are, we're not playing to. There's a lot of disappointment, and with where we're at in this season, and so what we're looking for is, how are we going to change that? We have the opportunity on Saturday. Our complete focus on this game and talking to our players has to be about this Saturday, not where we're going to be in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks or next season or what happened last week. None of that's relevant. all that's relevant and all that we can control is how we go and perform this Saturday. And honestly, we got to block everything out but that performance.
Are you concerned with who you'll be able to get to take this job, given, who knows what your status is going to be next year moving forward? Are you on the hot seat? All that stuff. Are there going to be people? Is there going to be people lined up to come?
This is Florida. So I mean, I think there's a long list of people that want any job they can get here at the University of Florida, in any aspect.
Dan, what can you realistically expect these staff moves to do for your team? I mean, does it give them energy maybe?
We're going to find out. I think one of the things we got to do is get our performance. I think we talked about that with the team this morning, and one of the tricky parts. I thought we had an excellent, despite some of the adversities we had to face last week, which was a minimum of I think it was between 20 and 30 every day that missed practice. And it wasn't the same ones; it was different ones every day, and guys missing practice with the game. And that's certainly not an excuse, because I thought we had an excellent week of practice. I thought our energy was fine. I thought it was really good. I thought our effort was good. I thought our mental approach to the game was really good. And one of the things, the biggest challenge for us right now is finding. we got to figure out how the Monday to Friday team shows up on Saturday, because they're not matched.
That's expanding on that. These next 3 games, they're similar circumstances where there's no championship to play for. The team you're playing is not in the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
How do you convince them that they have to be at a certain level for anyone can beat you?
Well, I think you have to understand that. I think here's the game of football. I could see if you don't like football, it might be a challenge to have to go play. If you're not a competitor, it might be a challenge to have to go play. I don't know. On Saturday in the Swamp, they light up a scoreboard, and there's 2 teams that want to win the football game, and they keep score. So someone's going to win and someone's going to lose. And if you need motivation beyond being a competitor and loving the game of football, then maybe football might not be for you. If maybe you're not a competitor. There's a lot of the world that's not. They're just people. I don't want to compete. I don't want to put myself out there. Okay, I mean, probably a lot of people in the world that way. A lot of people probably don't like football. But if our players, if you like to compete and you love to play football, we only get to do it 12 times a year. So I don't. Motivation beyond that to me. Question why you're here. Yeah, here's the thing. It was there Monday to Friday, and it didn't translate to our performance. You would think the other way. I would have, I've been in situations where we got to motivate Monday to Friday, but you know what? It's Saturday. We're going to show up and we're going to go. Somehow we showed up Monday to Friday last week, but not on Saturday. And that's a really interesting thing for us of why that was the case. Certainly, I'll say this. I was really disappointed with our effort and our physicality on Saturday. Not our attitude. I don't think there wasn't anybody. Everybody was there, was ready to play and excited to play. Right? Excited to play the game. Talking to the team at halftime, I say, hey, let's not worry where the score is right now. Let's not worry, are we going to come all the way back to win the game? Let's worry about one play. Just on this play, go as hard as we can. Just worry about that. Let's break it all the way down to just on the next play, just go as hard as we can. For the players. And I don't know, that's what we're trying to figure out. Is it a confidence thing? Is it something that as soon as something goes wrong, everybody's kind of looking around of what's the issue? Who's going to make the play? Oh, no, what's happening to us? So I think it is. I think we'll see a practice today. I certainly don't want to come out and say, let's have a bad week of practice and then play really well. I want to have a great week of practice and play really well. And most importantly, though, I want to see us play really well on Saturday. If we have to, if you have to take it somewhere. But I very rarely have seen as you play terrible and practice terrible, play great. I've seen you practice great, make some mistakes. that stuff happens in a game, and this happens, that happens, but not with what our performance was on Saturday.
When you met with the team to tell them about the coaching changes, how do you explain that this is for the best for you guys?
Yeah, I just said, hey, this is what we're doing moving forward right here. This is what I felt we had to do. I think everybody's disappointed, not happy with where we're at. And if you're not happy with where you're at, you got to make a change. And with change comes discomfort, right? I mean, that's the hard thing. Really hard to change because change brings discomfort. Yeah, it's much easier to keep everything, hey, just let's keep everything just the same, whether it's good or bad. Like, as long as I just can kind of be into my same routine and not have to take this discomfort that comes with it. And we talked about it. I think we're going to see, to sit there and say that's everything's been fixed within the program. I can't say that. What I can say is I want to just see what this does and how we go perform and play on Saturday. We need to play at a much higher level than we did last week.
You still need 2 wins for bowl eligibility. How important is that just to get the bowl practices and to get some momentum going into the offseason?
It'd be great, but I really want us to show up and play on Saturday. So I'm not really worried about anything and what anything else happens beyond this Saturday for our guys. And let's see. Let's get through Saturday, and we'll worry about Sunday.
And Marcus Burke really took advantage of the opportunity. Did he just get more time, I guess, because guys being out in practice to get more reps?
Yeah, I think a couple things. One, I think he's a guy that impressed us early on. Dealt with a bunch of injuries. He had some injuries at the early part of the season, so he'd been out for several weeks. And then obviously with the amount of people that have been out, we're a bunch of guys out at the receiver position. And really over the last 2 weeks of injuries, and then you add on to injuries all the guys missing with the flu, there's opportunities out there at practice, and I thought he did a really good job taking advantage of that, And, for a lot of these guys, that's the benefit of the redshirt rule, and it's tough. I think, a lot of these guys look now and say, hey, I'd like to redshirt, but I want to make sure I play my 4 games. And our big issue right now is how do you manage the roster and get everybody their 4 games, how do you get their 4 games in? So we've messed up 1 or 2 of those so far this year, I think, with guys we thought would play, and then they said, hey, I'd really like to try to save this year. So we're very cautiously counting games.
Dan, in contemplating your changes that you made in the staff, did you get a sense from your players, maybe on the defensive side and also on the offensive line, that maybe they'd lost a little bit of confidence in Coach Hevesy and in Coach Grantham?
No, not really from the players, I really didn't, For me, I was looking and saying, hey, what can we do to get us headed we need to get going in a different direction than where we were going, And if you've looked at us throughout the year, we've had some tough losses. And what I mean by tough losses is we go out and play and we do some really good things and make some catastrophic mistakes that caused us to lose some games. That wasn't the case on Saturday. We played bad. And so it was a very different analyzing that game to the other things, and when you go back and you reflect and you're looking at the positives, you're looking at the negatives, and you're like, okay, this was really good, this was poor. It was hard to take much good out of Saturday's game. I could take good out of just about all the other games, and I can point, like it or not, this is the reason we lost the game. And Saturday's was we didn't play well. We didn't play with great effort. We didn't play with great toughness. And that's not acceptable.
Also, some coaches I've heard before say that, they have a Rolodex full of coaches lined up, ready to go, that they already have their short list before they make a decision. Do you have already a short list, do you think?
But yeah, I'm going to have some ideas. Right now we're getting ready to play Samford as well. You got this week's game plan. Obviously, there's a little bit more deal, making sure our players, everybody's on the same page and understands what we need to do moving forward. You have all the recruiting stuff going on within our program. So when you combine all that stuff, it hasn't been the last 24 hours of me just going complete job search, looking for candidates that way. But the benefit of being here at Florida is there's going to be a lot of people that want to come coach for the Florida Gators and be a part of this program. Yeah, I don't plan on naming anybody until after the regular season. No, we're going to start doing some things here and there, at some point. Generally in our week, in the latter part of the week, you actually can catch your breath just a little bit once the game plan's in and you get going. So, that'll give me some time at the latter part of the week to start putting some things together.
Got time for just a few more. Go to Matt. Dan, you've had 36 hours or whatever to digest Saturday. Do you have any explanations for it?
I don't. I really don't. I wish I did. It is, like I said, I wish I could sit up here and tell you, you know what, we had a terrible week of practice. We came out and we played poorly. I wish I could tell you our you know what, I mean, there was apathy in the locker room. Our guys were excited to play, ready to play, wanted to go win. We're ready to go win. We're fired up. We had a great week of practice. Coach, I thought we had a pretty decent plan going in. Obviously not, and I don't know.
I don't say this next part lightly, but a lot of fans have questioned whether you've lost the team. Do you feel like that's the case?
No, because I would have, like I said, I would have felt differently if last week our performance Monday to Friday was different than it was. I would have felt very differently that way. That certainly is not the case in any way, shape, or form. And I think the team is looking at it. There is a lot of discipline. It wasn't there's not like no one cares. Certainly none of that in the locker room. And even team meeting this morning, there was a lot. And the guys talking. I let the guys talk. You guys talk about what we got to do to get it right. And they're all very engaged in what was going on and trying to get things right.
Did you break a podium last week?
Did I break a podium?
Yeah.
No.
All the rumors you broke the podium, stormed out of the room.
I don't storm out of rooms. Huh? I didn't like, these are hard to break right now. I might have pushed one, but I didn't break one. And I certainly didn't storm out of, I don't storm out of the rooms with our guys.
WEE or something.
Huh?
WEE or something.
Well, yeah, I would, I mean, Titus, maybe I see him could pick this up and all that stuff, but I mean, I gotta make it to practice today right now. So if I'm starting to pick up podiums and throw podiums around too much right there, I'll be on that list of guys right there with Paul in the training room.
We'll go to Zach and David, and we'll close from there.
You go back to Hennessy. You've been with him for 2 decades.
Mm-hmm.
He was the offensive line coach. Obviously, he knew kind of everything you wanted from that position. The big knock on him had been recruiting.
Mm-hmm.
How much of an emphasis will you place on that with the next hire, but also making sure you hire a coach that can, adhere to what he was able to do from that standpoint?
Well, I think most important is let's get the best coach that can do, both in recruiting and coaching and developing of our players, and that fits up to what we expect here at the University of Florida. So we're going to search for that, and I'm going to spend some time. We're going to search hard and get the right people for this program.
And then when you were here with Urban, there was that time where he lost you and some of his other assistants and lost Charlie as well, and that was kind of a big staff turnover period for him. How difficult do you feel like it's going to be for you having lost Brian Johnson and now 2 guys that have been with you for a long time in Hevesy and Grantham?
Yeah, I think it's always there's difficulties in that stuff, but there's also opportunities. It's hard for me to on the Urban one because I think I was the first one to go.
Yep.
So I wasn't here for how dealing with the rest of it and how the rest of those things went for us. But you know what? I mean, to me, my responsibility is to get this program where it needs to be, and all of my energy needs to go into that, and my excitement of going to do that, and that the challenge that goes into it. I'll always tell you guys, I don't think it's never as good as it seems, never as bad as it seems. I could have said that about this season up until Saturday, to be perfectly honest with you. I think I really could have. Maybe we look over the last couple of years and we're like, wow, maybe we weren't quite as good as we thought. We found a way to, up until before this weekend, which I'm disappointed. I apologize. I mean, that's not what the Gator Nation expects. But I think there was I looked at something like in before this last Saturday, in the previous 7 one-score games we were 1-6, and the ones before that we were 6-1. So was it that great, or we're just finding a way to polish things off and win, and then all of a sudden we're making mistakes that lost us? So I don't know that it's maybe to the extremes. But I think that's the challenge for me, and that's what I'm excited about. I'm excited to make sure we get this program where it needs to be.
And then for me, last year, obviously a lot of people wanted you to move on from Todd, and you didn't. And not only that, you never threw him under the bus. You kind of stood by and supported him, even up all the way through this season, even after the LSU game. Is that something that you can sell to the next defensive coordinator, that you're going to come here and get your contract, and I'm going to have the support?
Well, I think if you know me as a person, I'm a pretty loyal person. I'm not going to jump to any conclusion. I'm not. The first sign of trouble, I'm not going to abandon ship on anything. I'm going to look at everything. And honestly, I mean, probably at Knox sometimes, it's good to see you, people in person, because I think when you're on the internet sometimes, you ask a question. I'm kind of, these are the facts. I'm a very facts-oriented person. And so I look at those things, and I got to look at what's right, what we're doing good and bad. And I don't know how that'll affect. I'm going to go get somebody that's going to fit on our staff, that's going to get our players to play at an extremely high level, that's going to be a great fit for our staff, for our players, for the program, and for the University of Florida. I think that is. I have a tremendous amount of respect for Todd. I think Todd is an excellent football coach. I think he's a really good coach. That's why I stuck with him. And for all that time, I have no regrets about sticking with him, and I wouldn't change it. And at this time, I just thought we need to go into a different direction of where we are right now. And so I think anybody that comes to work for me will know I'm a very most people that work for me will tell you I'm a good person to work for, and I'm a very loyal person, and people enjoy working for me. Probably why, people have stuck around a long time, too.
All right, guys, we're out of time. I'm sorry.
No.
Okay, thank you.
I do have a game to coach this week, and believe it or not, there is some extra little things I'm dealing with.
We didn't even ask you about quarterbacks today. Just right off the hook. Right off the hook.